Law and order exist for the purpose of establishing justice, and when they fail in this purpose, they become dangerously structured dams that block the flow of social progress. Good evening and welcome to Face the Nation, Mondays at 9:30 p.m. right here on TV1. It's a brand new channel, a brand new timing. Our slot is Monday at 9:30 p.m. Our topic of discussion today revolves around the rule of law. Is the law being implemented? Is justice being served? Are the authorities doing enough? To discuss all this and more on Face the Nation today, we have two guests. Let me introduce our guests this evening. We have with us Mr. Hemantha Varanakulasuriya, President's Counsel. Good evening and welcome to the show, Mr. Varanakulasuriya.
Good evening.
Also, entrepreneur Mr. Cornel Pereira, who is joining us this evening on our show. Let's start off with Mr. Cornel Pereira, who is an entrepreneur, a businessman, has been involved in business for many, many years. Do you believe, Mr. Pereira, that the law is being implemented in Sri Lanka?
I think the public perception is it is being implemented according to agendas of the people who run the country. This I have no doubt about. I have experienced it myself. If the law was allowed to operate independently, without interference, then certain amount of justice can be meted out, may have been meted out. The question here is law. Yes, we've always had law. We can claim to be one of the small countries or one of the Commonwealth countries that had been respected by others for the way the law was operating. But in the last, I can say at least for the last 20 years, it has been abused, it has been circumvented, manipulated, you can say raped. That's what the law was in the last 20 years.
Let's take a look at the last 1.5 years alone. Has the law been implemented, in particular following the 8th of January last year?
Well, this, I know for sure it is being implemented. That was the undertaking given by the President and the Prime Minister and the rest of the people. Because there are simple things that you can see. We can drive on the road or stay in your home without the fear of a white van coming, without a policeman coming to talk to you, harass you. You can also drive on the road without the traffic being blocked, others being harassed, thrown aside. Do you see it now? Any one of you sees that now? Isn't that a good start after 30 years, 20 years of lawlessness, 20 years no order, 20 years of law being controlled by the persons who are elected to serve the people, the lawmakers, the MPs, by definition. They are there to make laws for the benefit of the people.
Is the law being implemented during the last 1.5 years, yes or no?
Yes, it is. How do you expect though that the judiciary, which operated in a different style, different culture, to be changed overnight? We need new faces, new people, and that can't happen overnight. Because this is an established institution, there have been systems, methods of promotions, of new selections, and that will take a while. But I can see there is absolute solid intention to implement the law.
Thoughts were made, views were expressed, Mr. Pereira, that there were many individuals who were breaking the law, many individuals who were involved in money laundering, so on and so forth. However, little is being done during the last 1.5 years. Why do you think the reason for this is?
Can I answer?
Yes, please.
Yes. The reason is the same thing as I said. I'll give you one simple, easy example for you to understand and the people to understand. 30 years, 35 years, the police officers, judicial officers, what were they doing? What was the police doing? Looking for some kind of Uttuwa Gannoni, LTT, JVP. And that was their main purpose, to serve the nation, you can say, because we had to end the war. That was priority one. After 30 or 35 or 40 years, today now you are expecting the same officers, police or legal officers, to investigate. They are all aware of all the horrible things, all the corruption that was done. They can put a name to it, so and so did it. We have some facts, we have some documents, yes. But what is the experience they have?
Thank you very much, Mr. Pereira. I will have to leave you at that as far as the first round is concerned. However, we will grill you more as the show progresses. I now move on to President's Counsel, Mr. Hemantha Waranakulasuri. He has been very vocal about the justice system in the country, especially in particular during the last 1.5 years. Mr. Waranakulasuri, do you think that the law is being implemented, justice is being made out?
I believe the government is striving to implement law and order. There is very much less interference in the judicial process. We don't hear politicians giving calls, telephone calls to judges and telling them what they should do. We don't hear the Chief Justice telephoning the junior judges and telling them what the order should be in that particular case. We don't hear the Secretary of the Judicial Service Commission giving calls to judges. Now, this has been a common trait for the last so many years.
Is this the case with the Attorney General's Department as well, Mr. Waranakulasuri?
No, the Attorney General's Department, the government is the client of Attorney General's Department. The Attorney General's Department will have to look after the government. But when you think of implementing the rule of law, the very fact that you go before a court of law and you argue your case, and you know the judges cannot independently exercise their jurisdiction because there has been some political interference. Now, with the new Chief Justice, and the whole culture has changed, and we see judges giving independent judgments. Now, for instance, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa could have gone to the Supreme Court and file a fundamental rights application and then request the Supreme Court not to arrest him. Now, this is simply impossible in the last decade, in the last few years, because the judges were trying to please the executive, and the judgments were in keeping with the executive. Now, you know that when Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa wanted to contest for the third time, I also made submissions to the Supreme Court, and it seems that all the judges have signed the judgment in agreement with the judgment written by the former Chief Justice. Now, I was told that some of the judges were almost forced to sign this. Now, I don't know whether that is true or not, but the important thing is there was no question. I mean, it was just an exercise in asking the Supreme Court what was going to happen was predetermined. No, that is not there. So we should be happy that there is an independent judiciary. Recently, a few days ago, Mr. Tilakaratna, former secretary to the Judicial Service Commission, was promoted as a High Court judge. Now, he was the person who was the secretary to the Judicial Service Commission, and he was the person who was assaulted mercilessly at Mount Lavinia, and then there was a complaint made. No one was arrested, and then he was removed from the position of Secretary JSC and placed him at a far distant place called Naul, a small circuit court. magistrate court. Now he has been promoted. So the judges are getting their due promotions and there is no interference. And we can expect the judges to behave independently. And therefore I believe there is a very, very good attempt to re-establish rule of law. I don't say it's complete, but there are other areas in which we can look in, we can improve. But there's definitely a change. This change we must applaud.
Mr. Varakul Surya, many question if the law is being implemented well, as you just said, as both of you just mentioned, why was the former president's son arrested and produced before court on a Saturday? This was the same case with a former minister as well, Basil Rajapaksa, arrested and produced to the Kadula magistrate and then remanded.
Yeah. Now, the answer to that is that I did not say the police are implementing the law. I said the judges.
So there is a problem.
The important thing is, first of all, we must go from the top, from the Supreme Court to the Court of Appeal, to the High Court, to the magistrates. There is no political interference. I am certain that the Chief Justice does not tolerate that, and we are all grateful to him. But then the police are still masters of their own with the new freedom they have got. Now we have been always clamoring for an independent police commission. Under Mahinda Rajapaksa, when the police did what he wanted, what the executive wanted, but at the same time, executive had some control over him, over the police. Now there is no control. Now this is the other side of it. The police I quite agree. There was no reason for. I mean, they could have waited. They could have arrested them on a Thursday, produced them on a Friday, not on a Saturday. I mean, that clearly shows the police are thinking the same way. They have been brainwashed for the last so many years. And do you think that you can come out of that? No. The element of corruption, the element of lethargy, element of incompetence, element of interference is there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Varakul Surya, President's Counsel, joining us this evening on our show. Let me introduce our journalist as well. On to my immediate right is Nadim Majid. Nice to have you on board, Nadim. On to my immediate left is Faraz Shaukat Ali. We are minus Sonali Vanikbadu today. And joining us this evening is Chaturang Kaporache, a young journalist joining us on our show for the third time. So let's start off with Chaturanga today.
Thank you, Shamit. My first question will be to President's Counsel Hemant Vanukola Suresh. Sir, how do you see institutions like the Financial Crimes Investigation Division of Police, the Bribery Commission, when it comes to upholding the rule of law?
Yeah, I believe now there is much debate about the FCID, whether they are properly constituted, whether the gazette that was published, whether it's ultra virus of the Constitution. But very few. I don't think anybody has challenged that gazette. Now the very concept of having an institution like the FCID is very, very important to Sri Lanka, because the amount of corruption that took place is gigantic. You know, I mean, it's beyond the imagination of any reasonable, prudent man. How much money was alleged to have been stolen from people. So when that happens, they have to establish a separate unit. I personally feel, like the Bribery Commission, this must be a permanent feature where specially trained police officers who can investigate into financial crimes should be given the opportunity of continuing this. And also there must be a legal department attached to this, so that the legal department, like the Bribery Department, need not seek the opinion of the Attorney General.
Mr. Varakul Surya, let's take a step forward and ask you, these investigations that are carried out by the FCID, they are being transferred or sent to the Attorney General's office. What happens then?
Yeah, that's what I say. Now, the Attorney General's office, there are a lot of people blaming the Attorney General's office, but you must understand, it's understaffed. The amount of work a state council has to do for a day is beyond my comprehension. Now, for instance, I know if you prosecute in a place like Kandy, you start in the morning, you go on till about 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the evening, then you are supposed to attend to about another about 50 or 60 files, and then also get ready for the case the next day, about 10 trials.
Whose problem is that?
No,
Mr.
that is
Honorable?
because I believe we have to expand this. We have to have more courts. We have to have
changing the system.
we have a Attorney General Department with a lot of legal officers, so that they have time. Now they are overburdened, so therefore there is a delay. I quite understand. I quite appreciate the fact that there is a delay. But whether the delay is
You appreciate
inordinate
the
or
fact
not,
that
I
there-
do not.
there- You said you appreciate the fact that there is a delay. Is
No,
that-
I appreciate the fact that not that there is a delay. I appreciate the fact that the delay is due to the fact that there is not sufficient staff. My position is that we have to, if the new act, I believe the government should also have a separate legal department, people who are trained to prosecute these cases involving documents. Everybody can't do that, so that they can investigate. Then they can also have a Commissioner General to whom the files could be sent, and then they can decide whether to prosecute
Mr.
or not.
Surya, do you believe that the Attorney General's office is overly centralized? Do you believe that it needs to be decentralized?
Yeah, I believe so. If you have district attorneys like,
So, for example, in the context of, we're talking about devolution of powers in
Yeah,
the country
that's
right
right.
now. Do you believe that in that context that
Yeah.
the Attorney General's duties should also be devolved to like district
I
attorneys?
believe so, but there are also the difficulty. The problem is the staff, the money. If you have a separate office in Gaul, I mean, with about now at the moment there is one state council and others other state council who go for special cases, but the entire division, entire district could be handled by one department, one branch, and they would have a staff. You would have number of state councils.
So basically what you're saying is the government needs to start allocating more funds for the Attorney General's
Absolutely,
department
absolutely.
in order
If you want
for the
rule of
department to
law,
function.
justice to be implemented without delay, you have to fund these institutions. You have to have more courts. You have to have. I mean, even if you go to some outstation court, their conditions are appalling. And the judges, they work under very tight, difficult situations.
Are you aware of what the current budget is of
I'm
the
not-
Attorney
I'm not
General's
aware, I'm
department?
not aware, yeah.
Mr. Varankurla Surya,
Yeah.
but don't you agree that at the AG's department,
Yeah.
things are not all rosy? There is a certain amount of malaise there. There's one instance when the former president, there's an assassination attempt against the former president. It's about 3 years. We haven't heard anything which suggests that they've been sitting on the file.
I do not know this particular file, but I know there is a delay. I know, but there are also the amount of files that are allocated to even to a state council, then to is huge, is large, because no human being could sit and work and go through all the details of the and decide. And so
Yeah, but
there is a delay. I don't say no, because the Attorney Department, the compensation is about.
It's 3 years.
There are cases in which they have taken not 3 years, 5 years, 10 years to prosecute. I know of cases where I have appeared for the accused. The case has been committed, and ultimately, when they decide to indict, there was no document. So those problems are there. That is all because of the financial.
But why do
component.
some of these courts only work till 3 o'clock? I mean, if you work for 2 hours more,
Yes.
the number of cases that are carried forward to the next year,
Yeah.
on average, is about 900,000 cases.
Yeah.
So in my way of calculating it,
Yeah.
if you work 2 hours extra per day,
Yeah.
like everybody else, and finish at 5,
Yeah.
you will be able to save 40% and bring that
but,
figure down.
But the circular, in fact, this happened at Amelipitia, when I appeared for that agreed party at 4 o'clock. The judge reminded us that the circular, that we must stop work at 4 o'clock, because the staff will have to, after the court adjourns, there is a lot of other paperwork to be done. So there are not of complication. I know it's very good if we can extend the time for another 2 hours and we get them to work. But still, the capacity for a human being to work is limited, and we have to have a lot of investments in order to achieve what we
Mr. Pereira, I'd like to pose this question to you. It appeared to me that in your opening statement, you were indicating that police officers, that law enforcement in this country is incapable of carrying out certain investigations. Am I right in inferring that from your?
Perfectly right. They are capable of doing their regular duties that they were used to, but this thing
and
about
I'll follow that question up, because I want to tie it in with something that Mr. Varnakulasuriya said. So you're saying the police officers are incapable of carrying out investigations. Mr. Varnakulasuriya is of the opinion that the Attorney General's office is understaffed and is therefore underfinanced. So in this context, I'm now going to place this question before the both of you. The High Commissioner for Human Rights of the UN is in the country. And he will be pushing the government to have foreign judges, foreign personnel and one of the main arguments of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights has been that our local law enforcement and legal structures are incapable. Now the two of you have attested to that they are incapable. So then do we have foreign judges and foreign personnel?
He's a lawyer, he's very familiar with, so on. What I meant was, these police officers were not used to investigating cases like what are on now. Financial frauds. They are not even conversant with foreign currency. They never had to do it in the last so many years.
Yes.
They were concentrating on LTT, JVP, where are these guys still?
So then the argument could also be put that these police officers are not experienced in investigating things like crimes, like war crimes.
Yes, I'll tell you that. Excuse me.
Sorry, yes.
The war crimes is a different question. It's a different subject. The war crimes to be investigated, this comes from Geneva, human rights. I'm not saying we should have foreign judges or not. I'm just saying the last 3 chief justices, were they accepted by the people? Was there no personal admission that we had done wrong by another one who offers himself, and it's in the papers, media, when the new government comes, he says, and I have that somewhere, I will give you any judgment you want.
Yeah, but Mr. Pereira, the question is, do you believe that if, as both of you have said, that our Attorney General's department, where prosecutions take place, and law enforcement are understaffed, maybe incapable, then do you believe that there should be foreign judges and foreign?
No, I don't agree with that. No. I believe our Sri Lankan police are quite capable of investigating any crime. They must be removed from their own stations and assign this special war crimes investigation. They'll do a perfect job. I don't think we should have it. And our judges at the same time could have now, for instance, there were a number of cases in which our judges have given judgment before this, and it was from the time Manam.
What about the Attorney General's office?
No, no, but now, for instance, after the first insurrection, Manam Peri's death, the judgment that was given by the Supreme Court, and he was convicted. So I think there is no problem with the judges or with the police. Only thing is, I don't think the foreign investigators or foreign judges could do any better. I don't think, because we have our own culture. We must understand what they speak, and so we have to have a translator.
Mr. Honorable, why did we co-sponsor a resolution? Why did we co-sponsor the Geneva resolution, saying that foreign judges?
That's of course the political decision. I don't agree with that. They may have done that in order to ensure that we have a change of government, and we have a change of attitude. Now, at the moment, you can see the president is saying one thing, the prime minister is saying one thing. They are at loggerheads about how to implement. Prime minister is saying that we may have foreign judges or foreign elements. President says we don't have to have any foreign judges.
But again, it boils down to what Mr. Pereira said. The last 20 to 30 years, nothing concrete has really taken place in Sri Lanka in terms of judgment, in terms of the activities of the judiciary. Yeah. So it does seems okay that the present regime went and co-sponsored this resolution to bring in foreign judges because nothing concrete has taken place in Sri Lanka in terms of the judiciary. Agreed or disagreed?
No, I don't think the just because we bring in foreign judges, whether the foreign judges can function as judges is another problem. Whether it's ultra vires the constitution is another feature. I feel our judges now, like judges like Justice Mark Fernando, judges like Justice Amar Singh, judges like GPS De Silva, they were excellent judges. There was absolutely no question. I mean, their judgments are almost equal or superior to some of the judgments given in this region. So our position is even today the Chief Justice, most judges of the Supreme Court, all the judges of the Supreme Court are competent judges. My position is there is absolutely no reason for us to bring foreign judges. If they want, they can also bring retired judges to investigate these crimes, and I think we can go ahead.
Mr. Pereira, I'll give you 30 seconds to respond to that, and then I'm going to give Faraz an opportunity to pose a question.
With all due respect, those nice judges are no more with us. They are gone. And this is a new set of judges. The last 3 Chief Justices, I repeat, the last 3 Chief Justices. What is the public perception of them? I can tell you, if we have to be frank and open, and how can we expect some of the military guys or the Tamils to have confidence in them? Can you expect that? Is that
so
fair?
You do endorse the resolution?
I say when it is necessary, a judge, I have watched so many other things in The Hague and all, there are judges who come, they can assist, they can help. The logistics of those judges is not a difficult question. They have experience, they've done it. So I don't
Mr.
want
Varnasuri, are you in agreement with Mr. Pereira?
Do you think they should be there in a supportive capacity?
They must be there behind. What are we having this for? To solve this problem for people. We are not going to go to Geneva for another 10 years.
Why can't we solve it on our own? What's wrong?
What?
The President said there are lots of Dakshio in this country. Well, why do we need foreigners here? Why?
We are not talking about Dakshio. There are. He's a Dakshio, I am a Dakshia in my own way. But what is the objective to resolve this? To resolve this, you got to have acceptance from all sides.
Why should we depend on foreigners for this?
That's what I'm saying, because there is no
First they complain that we didn't have proper checks and balances. So now that they're in place, why can't we give that new system, the re-established independence, a chance? Why jump into foreign waters?
They complain when and about whom? About the earlier regime.
Their history. Why do we keep going back to them?
How can we say it's history then?
Of course it's history.
What? They complain,
Mr.
but that
Rajapaksa isn't
regime
in
is
power
gone.
anymore.
This regime is trying to be fair and good. This
Or
regime is
Mr.
interested
Pereira,
in resolving
I put it to you that the Prime Minister has forgotten that he doesn't have the majority mandate. It is the President who does. And that he must do as he is told by the President. Isn't that the real problem?
No, those logistics or what you call, I'm not prepared to answer that, but I know, I've said this once before, for the first time in the last 30-40 years, President Maitri and Prime Minister Ranil are working as a team. This happened long years ago when President Jayawardena and Prime Minister Premadasa worked together as a team. They are a working team. There can be differences of opinion.
Have you forgotten that they were from one party?
No, same party.
President Premadasa and Mr. Jayawardena from the same party.
Yes, there is a point there, yes. But what I am saying, this time it is what? A coalition together?
You're contradicting your own views here. The question is very simple to you. We had an old regime, now we have a new regime which promises to go on a very genuine track in terms of establishing accountability and reconciliation. And then you have foreign judges coming and interfering with the legal system in Sri Lanka. Are you for it or against it?
No. Why do you assume they are going to interfere with the legal system? This
That's
is not
what the
very
resolution
different
very
from
clearly
anywhere
says,
else.
Mr. Pereira. If you read the resolution, it clearly says that logistical support, technical support will be obtained from those foreign judges. Are you for it or against it?
I am
Very simple.
no, I am for a resolution of this Geneva thing.
Right.
I
Mr.
am
Honorable
for a
Surya, are you in
resolution
agreement
of
with that?
No, I don't agree that foreign judges should come here and interfere with our business, because now my my good friend said that that we have to resolve this. We have to get the consensus of all the parties. But if the foreign judges come, then a huge uproar in the majority community. They will say now. They will say that foreign judges have come to indict us, and then send these people without even evidence behind bars. Now, if you see the Darusman report, now Darusman report was prepared by a foreign expert panel. They have taken verbatim what has appeared in the TNA and produced that as evidence. So how now Darusman is supposed to recognize jurists. Now, what he had done in that report. So how can you expect when they decide to send judges here that they will not be biased and partial? And that is the way. Then how can there be resolution?
Is that allowed in the constitution of this country? Is that allowed in the constitution of this country?
Not at all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Varnakula Surya and Mr. Conal Pereira. We just finished our second round. Our topic of discussion today revolves around the rule of law. Are the authorities doing enough? All that and more after this short commercial break. Stay with us. This is Face the Nation. Welcome back. This is Face the Nation. Third round, we start off with President's Counsel, Mr. Hemanta Varnakula Surya. Mr. Varnakula Surya, you said that the judiciary is on track. However, there are questions about the conduct of the police. And then you said that the judiciary and the police are in line. My question to you is, what is your position with regard to the judiciary and the police?
Yeah,
is the political vengeance taking place even now in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I believe the police, especially when I think of this Ameripitia case, the historic case. For the first time, police officers have gone into a house and demanded liquor and killed one of the inmates.
That is yet to be established.
That is my view.
You are representing the aggrieved party.
Yeah, I'm a for the aggrieved party. I mean, the allegation is that.
Allegation is that. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. Now, what happened afterwards? The magistrate gives an order, and then in his order he says, all those whose names transpires must be investigated and produced before me. The police took several days to produce the main suspect, the ASP. Now, the talk of the town was ASP was being protected by the IG. Now, here I am very sorry to say the government should have taken a very, very independent stand. Should have given directions to the police to arrest and produce all those names that transpires at the inquest, so that there be transparency, that the accountability, and the government and the human rights is respected. But what happened? Even today, then when nothing was happening, some junior lawyers on their own, without any fee, went to the Court of Appeal, filed a writ of mandamus. And only then the next day the ASP was produced. Up to now the OIC had not been produced. Now today I see in the newspapers that some other 30 police officers who are involved in this whole scenario is missing or are not reported to work. Now why cannot the police treat this as a normal case, another case? Now if this happens to you and me, we would have been assaulted, brutalized, and produced and remanded. Now, the police are taking such a long time mainly because one of the reasons is there is no political interference. Now, I mean, they are independent. Now, when they are independent, they have always acted as if they were the political warlords. They were, in fact, what we saw the last 5, 10, 15 years.
So, are you saying, Mr. Varnakula Surya, political interference is good? Or are you saying political interference is bad?
I can follow.
Are you saying that political interference is good, or are
No,
you saying
political interference is
bad?
that's the very important question. Now, during Rajapaksa regime, there were instances where when the shooting took place, 3 or 4 people shot. There were demonstrations, and the demonstrations they shot at, and there was no proper inquiry. But at the same time, when independent some of the pet police officers, when they committed murder for ransom for money, the Rajapaksas did not interfere, and therefore we have a case in which DIG for whom appeared or is convicted. Now my position is, now when the police are given the power and you say that they are independent, then the politicians say no, we don't want to interfere with the police are independent. But then they are not performing their duties. Now we have to go to the police commission, make a complaint. How long will that take? So the whole law and order is crashing. Now this is the reason, this is what happened even before. Before this, I mean in the early 70s, 80s, this happened. The police were independent, they were law unto themselves. They could assault any person, kill any person, and nothing happens. But here for the first time the Attorney General Department, I must give due credit to the acting Attorney General, Suhadagannath. He saw the petition sent to him by a UMP politician, and then Mr. Kavinda Javadana, and then decided to act on it and decided to send State Council. That is the reason why the police arrested the ASP. Otherwise, that never happened. Now, even now, they are still giving excuses.
Mr. Varakulu Surya, the former president, following his son's remand, said that there is political vengeance in Sri Lanka. Are you in agreement with that?
No, the question, I have not studied the facts upon which.
You have not studied what?
I have not studied the facts upon which Rohita Rajapaksa with Yoshita Rajapaksa remanded. But from what I read in the papers, I have some doubts whether it's money laundering. I have grave doubts whether he could be remanded, whether it could be sustained. That is my personal, but I do not know. It may be that the police have produced sufficient evidence. Because, as you say, why did they arrest this person on a Saturday? Why couldn't they have arrested?
That's a known fact, Mr. Varakulu Surya.
It's
a known fact that
it's a known fact, and then so therefore the whole the wheel that we have, you know, that wheel of political interference, corruption, all those turning in such a way to arrest people whom they.
So then there is political interference there.
Then
there is political interference there.
No, I don't say political interference. The police officer, CID, now in fact the president has questioned them. They have said they have investigated this case for nearly 6 months or 8 months. They have recorded some thousands of statements. Then only they have arrested him. I don't think. But the question, the manner in which they were arrested, and whether this money laundering is another important matter. Whether in the money laundering act there must be money must be gotten by illegal activity. Whether it's illegal activity, I do not know.
Thank you very much, Mr. Varakulu Surya, for your thoughts. I leave it to the people at home to decide whether it was an act of political vengeance, whether there is political interference in terms of such arrests being taken place in Sri Lanka, because we know on the 8th of January last year, the government came into power saying that justice will be meted out, the rule of law will be implemented. So I leave it to those at home to decide on that. I now move on to Mr. Cornel Pereira, entrepreneur. Mr. Pereira, one of your entities that you built from scratch is now under turmoil. One of the institutes that you built with your hard-earned money, with your sweat, has justice been served to you?
I'm expecting it to be served, but
last 1.5 years you did not receive any justice, or you're expecting it to happen in the coming few months or coming few years?
I waited long enough. Few years, I would have left all of you. So I can't wait for few years. I understood soon after the presidential election, I was told, and that is true, the UNP had only 42 members in parliament, and so I was advised to wait till the general election over where we have the numbers. That has happened, but as you know, August 17th general elections took place, but setting up of the cabinet, there was lots of complications, took a lot of time.
But one of your
When your Q&A starts, we have to let Mr. Pereira speak.
I do
Yes, Mr.
apologize.
Pereira.
Do
Go
carry on.
please.
Anyway, that period has passed, and if I speak from my heart, soon after the elections, I had reason to believe, and I expected, the next day they will attend to this matter and the hotel will be returned to me, because that was produced and delivered single-handedly. Nobody gave me
Justice has not been served.
I can't say that. Justice is being delayed. May I put it that way? I don't want to disturb anybody.
Justice is being delayed or justice is being denied?
No, delayed. It won't be denied. Huh?
Delayed then denied.
No, it's delayed. I'm not saying
Denied.
it's denied. When it doesn't happen, I'm happy you asked this question, but at the same time, I feel very stressed how to answer this. But I'm expecting things to happen in the next 2-3 months.
It revolves around the answers that you gave before, Mr. Pereira. You said that justice is taking place, but let's talk about you as an individual.
Okay.
You were saying that justice is not being served to an individual like you, and you said that they promised that they would make some sort of compensation after the August 17th election.
Yeah, sure. That's
but nothing has been done.
No, so far I explained it to you. They said,
What has been done, Mr. Pereira? Tell me.
wait till after the general elections. Then the cabinet took so long. They have other priorities also, and I am a party supporter, government supporter, so I'm being patient, waiting, because it's a complicated one. You all heard about Mr. Amarasekara asking for 300 million rupees.
Mr. Pereira, I would appreciate if you do not mention any names. If so, you have to take full responsibility.
I will. It's public
because
news.
that individual
And
is
I'm
not in
repeating,
present.
Mr. Nihal Sri. There was a cabinet paper put forward, and fortunately the president shot it down. And that hurt me. I, with my family, I delivered the Hilton through difficult circumstances to terrorist wars.
Same people who promised you that they would provide you compensation is doing this, isn't it?
Who?
You said about a cabinet paper, and this was forwarded by a very powerful minister of the present regime.
Yeah, that's for whom? Who should they have thought of? Me? I haven't collected a single cent compensation. I am the one who sacrificed. I am the one who suffered. Since you're talking about the law, in the last 20 years, especially the regime before the Rajapaksa regime, I have been going to courts like commuting to school. And then I say, this rule of law, where was this rule of law? It was in the hands of the executive to use it the way they wanted, as they had other agendas.
Mr. Pereira,
One more sentence, please.
Yes.
Last sentence, it's coming from my heart. In 94, after the government changed, and just before it changed, Mr. Paskaralingam, Mr. Shanmugalingam and the government was wanting to exit. Get rid of the government guarantee and get the government hell out of that hotel thing. And we got it. We had an offer from American Express Bank addressed to the executive and everybody else. They roadblocked it, sabotaged it, never responded to it. And we even said, if you let this American Express Bank, there was another South Africa, if they gave us this money, $50 million or whatever then was, we pay back the Japanese yen loan and your guarantee is gone.
Mr. Pereira, it clearly seems to us that you are speaking from your heart. You are obviously disappointed with the way in which they have treated you over the last 8 months or so following the August 17th elections. If so, why do you still endorse the policies of this regime?
No, I'm not talking about, what I said was after 94, because in 94...
You said that you said that they promised you to give you some sort of relief after the August 17th elections.
I said in the next few months it's going to happen. And I'm
So
sure
you are in conversation with the present regime on that?
No, the present regime has informed me to be patient. We'll find a solution. The coffers are empty. The coffers are empty. There was no provision made for this. Let me go back to 94.
No, Mr. Pereira, we are talking about just the last few months.
Yes.
They promised you to give relief and you are waiting, but the coffers are empty, and it seems like a
I'm
genuine
saying
interest
it's
taken
empty.
by them.
They wanted some time. I'm telling you now, in the next 2-3 months it's happening. But more
Thank you very much,
important
Mr. Pereira.
for
We have to
you,
leave at that this round, but my fellow journalists would drill you on the conversations that we're having now and the topics that we're discussing right now. So let's start off with Faraz.
Mr. Pereira,
Yes, sir.
did you seriously believe these politicians back in August or July when they told you that when they win they'll sort you out? Did you really believe them?
I believe very much. I believed, I still believe, because it was in the public domain, media, very clearly stated by the President and the Prime Minister that when we come, we will see that justice is done in the Hilton case.
Did they?
I have those documents.
Sorry, did you support them financially?
Pardon?
Did you support them financially?
I don't think you need to ask that question. I was a supporter of the party.
Right. So we presume that
With
you
my
did.
time and money,
So
3
don't you
years.
think that you've been let down?
That thought crosses my mind, but at the same time,
Because
I have to look
the
at
only
the
reason I
difficulties
the only reason I mention it is that a minority shareholder, along with you in that company, has been paid more than 50% of what they've agreed to pay him.
That's, I would say I can say that's real corruption if that was done.
Well, you know it was done. It's been acknowledged in the press.
No, they asked for 300 million, the President shot it down. It was not paid.
That payment amounts 2 lots of payments. It's been published in the Sunday Times. 100 million once, 125 million the second time
Yes,
round.
that's during the
225.
Rajapaksa regime.
So if this minority shareholder is getting so much or so little, how much should you get? And why haven't they paid you? Why is there no final settlement?
I'm expecting it, I told you that. I'm expecting, it should happen, it will happen.
Have you got lots of patience?
I have no other choice. That's why
But
we
for
go
the
back
last
to...
20 years, you've been a bit like Godot, waiting and waiting.
Yes, that's true. That's why when you say entrepreneur or businessman, I was one till 94. And after that, I was tortured, tormented, harassed, humiliated, like this special presidential commission. I went before that commission. Mr. Choksi went before. Mr. Paskarlingam was fortunately not here. We were all harassed and hammered with motive of...
And despite all this, you say that the law is being implemented.
No, I said now. It was never implemented then. They used it.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you, Mr.
Sorry, I'd
Pereira.
like to... Nadine, for a minute, I just want to make a submission. We are drilling Mr. Pereira on the basis of getting answers because of simple fact. You initially said that justice is being served. However, then you said justice is not being served over the last 20 to 30 years and that you're disgruntled about it. And then you said during the last 1.5 years, justice is being served. And then again you said that you're disgruntled about what has happened to you as an individual. And that is why I think Faraz and I were grilling you to get your views on what exactly is taking place in Sri Lanka right now, and also with regard to your case in question. Yes, Nadine, go ahead.
Mr. Warnakulasuri, I'd like to pose this question to you. You said that we need to have specialist investigators, and that's why the FCID is a positive step, and that there needs to be more such specialist investigation units within the police itself. Let's say we agree with that it is necessary to make investigations more credible and more comprehensive. But is it necessary, because you were talking about political interference, is it necessary that when you set up such an institution, that it comes under the purview of a subcommittee of cabinet headed by the Prime Minister?
No, I totally disagree with that. It must be a completely independent, autonomous body.
Because you
like
spoke
the
about
Bribery Commission.
Yeah, because you spoke about the National Police
Yeah,
Commission.
but that's one of the objections that have been taken against the FCID, that it comes.
So you object to that as well?
Yeah,
that
I
the
object.
FCID is
I
under-
object. I object. When this is set up, it be completely independent, autonomous. Will have sufficient funds, sufficient police officers and law officers, and they'll have a commissioner general, and they'll be able to file indictments in court.
Mr. Varnakrasuriya, the general public, mainly several lawyers, numerous lawyers who were fighting for good governance, or who were supporting the candidacy of Maithripala Sirisena for president, were hoping for the independent commission, specifically the National Police Commission as well. My question now is, even after the appointment of the National Police Commission by the Constitutional Council, after the passing of the 19th Amendment, we have seen incidents like the Amblipetia incident. There have been other minor incidents as well of where there have been allegations of police brutality. In the midst of all of this, what is the National Police Commission doing? Does the National Police Commission have any teeth at all? Is it capable of doing anything?
Yeah, even the former police commission, there were delays.
Yeah,
And
but
when
this
you
is
make a
but we're
complaint-
talking about the National Police Commission after the 19th Amendment. So my question is,
even
what's the point of having an independent commission if that commission is not going to do anything?
Precisely, now, that is, I think I tend to agree with you, because the police commission has become sometimes an obstacle. Now, when this happened, I spoke to the secretary, and he wanted me to make a complaint to them, and this girl came all the way from Amblipetia, made a statement, but they have not. Will you be surprised? For the first time in the history of this country, ASP, who has been suspected of committing murder, who had been remanded, has still not been interdicted. He is still not been interdicted. Now, this has never happened. Moment a person is produced before any courthouse, and then if he remanded,
now in remand custody, Mr. Varnakrasuriya.
he is in remand custody, but not interdicted.
He's not been interdicted.
Not interdicted. I mean,
So you're
this
saying
never
he's still-
happened.
so he's still getting
then
his-
I now why I can ask you the same question. Now you have seen the papers. A
So
police
isn't this
officer-
the
police officer-
responsibility of the National Police? I mean,
Yeah,
it's the responsibility of the IGP. I
No, I
suppose.
do not know. Now, for instance, a police officer who was supposed to be drunk, and he was not seated, not in his seat, and no other problem, was immediately interdicted. There has been an instance where whole police station Bandara, nearly 200 police officers were transferred out of the police station, and then there was an excellent police officer working Dabulla. He had been transferred out in order to suit this whole scenario to Piliyandala.
Mr. Varnakrasuriya, let me ask this question as the youngest person in this room on behalf of the youth of the country. If you say the police is incompetent and allegedly acting like warlords at times, if the AG's department is understaffed and underfinanced, if the police commission is an obstacle at certain times, and if you say we don't need international interference when it comes to the rule of law, where do we go?
No, what I said was international interference, international judges, and for war crimes, I don't think necessary. What is necessary is I do not know how to do this. This is a national trait.
Do you think that there should be a
Corruption
change
is
in
national
system?
trait, lethargy is national trait, and the police commission is acting so slow. They have they have the regulations which makes them to postpone things. Now, can anyone answer why this police officer ASP has not been interdicted? He goes to the police station, he is taken from one prison to another prison, and he goes to the prison hospital. That's okay. But why was he not interdicted? Now, in answer to this, in fact, several people asked me, can we depend on this police commission and the IGP and the police, and then aren't we giving a very bad example to the human rights commissioner who is here? They might say, if you can't resolve your problems, local problems, how can you resolve problems in Jaffna and war crimes? So that is true, but I do not know. That's why I said the government must be strict. Government must step in and say that if you want to maintain the rule of law.
But Mr. Varnakula Surya, if the government does that, then the government is interfering. And then it's political interference. But it is for this purpose that they passed the 19th Amendment and appointed the independent commission.
Yeah.
So my question now is what are the responsibilities of the independent police commission?
The independent police commissions, I believe, is in charge of the disciplinary matters, transfers, but
it is clear that
it's clear
to you
so
that
I
it's
do
not,
not know.
that it's not
police
happening.
commission, why they are not functioning, I cannot answer. I'm really amazed at the manner in which this whole thing is progressing. I cannot understand.
I think we
Maybe
should
they
get
have
the police
appointed
commissioner
some
on the show.
incompetent people. I do not know. This is the thing. But by instead of which the Human Rights Commission, Ms. Deepika Udukama, moment this happened, she on her own sent a team to Ameripitiya. And then she recorded statements of everyone. And now she is trying to find out whether human rights may be violated. Now that is the type of people we want. So it's not the fault of the commission, it's not the fault of the establishment.
So
of
are
the
you
commission.
saying the Constitutional Council has appointed the wrong people to the National
Maybe, I do
Police
not know, I can't say, but up till this moment, some police officers have disappeared from Ameripitiya. They can't be traced. When the police comes and says they can't trace the police officers, I mean, how I can answer? What is the response? I agree with you. I sometimes feel the police commission is an obstacle. At the same time, I feel police commission is a necessity.
Sorry, can we just move a bit north from Emilipitiya? Do you agree with Chief Minister Vigneswaran when he said that because we can't look after ourselves, that is why he feels that they need foreign intervention? Do you agree with that?
I don't agree.
But you've just been saying that it's
No,
none
that's
of these
right.
things
But
work.
I'm trying
Mr.
to say,
Varnakula Surya, you said
foreign
police officers
intervention
can't
is
even
not
face
going to
police
solve the
officers.
problem.
They are giving
If you want foreign intervention, foreign judges, foreign experts, then the entire South will erupt. They will be against this. They will be against the foreign judges. So what is necessary is a resolution by the politicians in order to show the world that we are equally competent, we equally efficient. We have police officers who are very competent. We have judges who are very good. We have investigators who are very good. But then the problem is there are certain things now here in Ameripitiya, the IGP is sitting on this whole thing and preventing anybody from being arrested.
Rather like the AG sitting on that file for the last 3 years and the assassination attempt.
I mean, 3 years is comparatively, when you think of the last days, it's a very short time, a short period. Sometimes it's 30 years.
Would you agree then that there is a need for a systemic change?
There is need for a change. We have to have the whole structure change. We have to have finances. We have to have lawyers. We have to have buildings. All
So,
that. Then
so
only
in,
this
that,
thing can
in
happen.
that context, would you welcome a limited foreign involvement?
The foreign
temporary
involvement is not going to help us. They would come. They are not going to help us because some of the commissions that the foreign judges set, say the Lalit Tatharamadi commission, what happened? The government rejected that commission report and they appointed another commission. Then there was another commission. All those commissions that foreign judges set, the people and the government threw that out and did not accept that after spending so much millions of rupees.
Thank you.
What does your conscience say, Mr. Varnakula Surya?
What
With regard to the involvement of foreign judges, what does your conscience say?
Yeah, I honestly believe we are quite competent as a nation, as judges, as investigators to investigate these crimes. Now, my friend said the report, Parnagama report. Now, Parnagama report was a product of a local judge, retired judge. It's an excellent report. It's very much better than the Darusman report. And we must commend Justice Parnagama for having produced the report. And they produced it within no time. So my position is that you must, now again this question of interference, there must be political direction, or the commissions must take up their position and give directions to the police to do the correct thing.
What are your thoughts on this, Mr. Pereira?
I think we have to think much bigger. What's the point in having a new constitution, new law and order, all these things, if you do not settle the major issue? The Geneva thing. The major issue for me is a linguistic problem. We don't have to talk about Muslims. There's two languages. Yesterday, after the national anthem, talk to any Tamil speaking person, not only North, East, Muslim, Tamil speaking people. They feel so relieved, they feel so respected. These people have been
Deprived.
hungry and thirsty for equality within one Sri Lanka, without undivided Sri Lanka. And that's very clear now. Isn't it our obligation now to focus on how if I'm a businessman, I look at the bottom line. How do I achieve this? That's what we should look at. We have to resolve this. We have to resolve this hunger, thirst of the Tamil speaking people. If we don't do that, and how he, me or you to say now, the people in the south. I know people in the south also want this settled. People everywhere want it settled. There are a few rabble-rousers, bankrupt politicians who want to use this mechanism to cause trouble. I therefore feel that in my heart I have nothing against foreign judges coming here, because I have also watched some of the things, Kigali, what happened, so-and-so, what happened. And I am saying, how can you depend, how can you expect these Tamil-speaking people, Muslims and Hindus? We don't want religion here. I'm saying that our problem is a linguistic problem. If we give the Tamils, they will learn Sinhalese, that subsides. But to do that, we have to settle this Geneva issue.
Thank you very much.
Can you depend on the judges we've had, the nice names he mentioned, they were there, they were great, but they have gone. But today, can you expect the people, the vanquished, to believe in our judges? Let's go on the Maxwell Paranagama report. I totally agree with him. That is a good one. We don't want Darsman, any such thing. And let's progress forward with the noble purpose of settling this.
Mr. Vera, thank you very much for your thoughts as well. Now we move on to the final round. Before that, we take a short commercial break.